Hey guys, Dave again. So it's been about a year. I figure it's time we do a top 5 lessons learned after being in Wyoming for a year. If you stick around, there may be a 6th one at the end of the video. Okay, so let's get into it. And at number 1, not to sound doom and gloomy, I get that a bunch, but I always try to give you guys the real and the honest. So Wyoming is number 3 in divorce rate, behind Nevada and Oklahoma. So understand, and my belief, and in going through something very similar, it's hard living here. The totality of everything really puts a strain on a marriage. So if you're coming here as a couple, make sure that you got a rock solid foundation. It takes a really special woman to like Wyoming. It's not for everybody. I tend to see a lot of guys do really well here. Women, tend to be more communal, and that's not really a thing in Wyoming with everything that's spread apart and only having less than 600,000 people in the state. So factor that in when you come in, kind of think about those kind of things. That can be a hard aspect. That domestic piece can be really challenging because you don't have that traditional support structure. And we'll get into some of this, that social life that's part of, let's say, normal life, air quotes, around other parts of the country. So know that coming in. Totally doable. I know a lot of couples that are really happy. They do a lot together. They're best friends. I think that's a key to living here. With the amount of cold, the wind, and the challenges that you face, your spouse being your best friend, I think is critical for you guys making it and sticking it out. I see a lot of people do that, but they're based on the stats. There's a lot of people that don't make it. So know that coming in. Number 2. So, and I can't speak for all the state. I think some of the eastern part of the state, especially in the southeast, they get a lot of snow. Here in Cody, Powell, Park County, we don't really get the amount of snow that you traditionally think of when it comes to Wyoming. So here in the greater Cody area, we only get 10.5 inches of precipitation a year. Now, if you go back and you look at previous videos, hopefully you're tracking along, but if you look back in August, I did a first snowfall of the year video. That's the only measurable snowfall that we've had all year. We really haven't had any real precipitation since then. It's dry here. We get 300 days of sunshine a year. Most of the precipitation that comes seems to come in May. A lot of the water that we use for irrigation, which is a huge thing out here, irrigation, comes from snowmelt up in the mountains. And if you go back and you look, really this year is a dry year, even though they say we're at like 106%, I think was the last one I saw. Mountain snow is really low. If you go watch the ice fishing video that we just put out, that there was 3 inches of snow on the ice. There was really no snow up there. And the pass from Cook City to Beartooth Lake that you could normally take to drive across on the snowmobile was closed because there wasn't enough snow. I actually watched a guy on a little dirt bike conversion thing with a ski on the front crash into a rock that we could see. I don't know how he missed it, but yeah, he messed his bike all up. But yeah, there's just no snow up there. So there's no precipitation around anywhere. And we really didn't see a lot last year. There was some sporadically, but this year's been even drier. So know that coming in. You'll hear a lot about the snow and whatnot. It's not really that bad. Yesterday, January 12th, I had to run up to Billings. It was 60 degrees in Billings, and it was 55 in Cody. So, and that's the middle of January. So, you'll get some warm stretches. Now, don't get me wrong. February will get really cold, but we really don't get that much snow. So, that's a fun fact. Number 3. So number 3 comes down to jobs. Jobs are tricky, and again, I'll speak for this Northwest corridor and sort of where we're at here. The eastern part of the state is a whole different animal. You do have some oil and gas there, though those jobs are sort of in jeopardy with everything that's going on. Coal's drying up and becoming a mess. If you go look at Wyoming is in trouble video, it'll highlight a lot of the problems that are going on. That's in our feed, so go watch that video and it'll give you some of the challenges that they're facing. But if you're going to come to this area, I really think it behooves you to be entrepreneurial, start a business, buy a business, something that you can sort of control and grow. If you're looking for jobs, a lot of the jobs in this area are service sector jobs. There's no I'm going to come here and do tech, or I'm going to come here and do manufacturing. There just isn't a lot of that, if any. So if you have a remote work from home job, I think you can make that work as long as it's a job that you want to stay in for a long term. Because if you lose that remote work from home job and you can't find another one, you're going to be thrust into one of those service sector areas, or you're going to have to start a business. I advocate all the time on this channel, start businesses and invest in equities and buy rental residential real estate. I think those are the key plays regardless. But if you don't want to do any of those and you're working a 9-to-5, know that service sector is primarily going to be your route. Or if you're lucky enough to get in with the oil field guys, they make decent money, but it seems to be boom or bust. It's a lot of feast or famine. I see a lot of guys buying brand new side-by-sides when the oil field's kicking, and then I turn around and see them a couple months later selling those things. So, maybe you can get some deals there, but it really seems to be up and down. Oil field life seems to be hard. I don't know that that's something that you want. So start a business if you're coming here. Number 4. So number 4, there's an unlimited amount of adventure in Wyoming. I mean, literally anything you want to do outdoors is at your disposal. I mean, there's like 22 million acres or something of BLM land, which is Bureau of Land Management land, which you can just kind of go out and drive your side-by-side or shoot your guns or do whatever you want on. That's available to you. You've got the mountains here. We're an hour and a half from the Beartooths, an hour and a half from the Bighorns, and you can go up there and do basically anything you want. You want a snowmobile, you want a side-by-side, you want to do whatever. The thing about that, and the thing to realize, is it's really, really expensive. It's not like one of the coasts where you've got not huge swings of weather. Go look at the ice fishing video we just put out. My buddy got altitude sickness and we were in minus 20 degree weather. It really, it takes a lot of gear to support that, and that stuff gets expensive. So we went ice fishing, and if we just look at the ice fishing gear, I didn't buy any of the fancy bibs or coveralls. I used old boots that I had, but I bought a tent, an ice auger, a couple of poles, a sled, some fishing gear, and I was like $1,200 into it. That didn't really count the sleeping bag, the cot, all that kind of stuff that I also had to get, and that was for one trip. Now we can use it on other trips, and there's a lot of guys here that'll be like, well, you don't have to do all that, and I agree. You don't have to do that. You don't have to take snowmobiles and drag sleds into 10 miles into the backcountry to go find a lake and go fishing. Now you can drive up to a lake, pile out, drill a little hole with a hand auger, and you can do it cheap. But for me, and I hope for you, I didn't come to Wyoming to do lame adventures. I came to Wyoming to do epic stuff. So to me, driving 10 miles on snowmobiles into the backcountry, throwing up a tent and surviving 20 degree weather, that's epic. Those are the kind of adventures I want to do. So when I say it's expensive, that's the kind of stuff I do and I look to do. But know and be prepared when you come in that it's going to be really expensive. And that's just another added on cost, especially, if you're working a lower end wage job or whatever. It may take you a long time to build to these epic adventures, or you're going to have to really narrowly focus and do one or two things. Especially, maybe you can get it done per year. When a snowmobile's running you 15 to 18 grand new right now, a side-by-side's running you 25 to 35. Okay. You're looking at some big expenses, and then you have upkeep and maintenance and all that kind of stuff. And don't even get me started on how expensive horses are, because that's a whole nother animal, pun intended. But yeah, I mean, it gets really, really expensive to live here and do the adventures that you want to do. You have to really pick and choose, or you got to work multiple jobs to pay for those adventures, and then you just can't go as often. So back to start a business. That's the best pathway. All right, number 5. So number 5, there's really no social life here. A lot of places in Wyoming are really small towns. I think the tallest building in the whole state is a 12-story dormitory down at the University of Wyoming. I think it's 200 feet high. So if that gives you any context and perspective, there are local bars everywhere that you can go to and hang out. I'm not a big bar guy. I'll go if someone else is there that I really want to see, but I'm not going to go hang out at bars. We had an escape room, one of those figure it out, get out of it rooms. That place closed up. Maybe pandemic, maybe not, I don't know. But there's not a big social scene here. So adjust to that and understand that. You know, it's going to be a lot of you and your spouse. You may have another couple friend or whatever you get together with and do. But if you're not doing outdoor stuff and you're like, if you're not an outdoorsy person, this isn't the place for you, because your best bet at social interaction is going to be joining a bicycle club, joining a run club, doing those types of activities with those types of, a fishing club. You know, there's a bunch of those, but you got to be into one of those kind of things to really get in it and enjoy the benefits. But it's not going to be like your traditional coasty style where we're going to go foodie here and foodie there and foodie this and that and go to this show or go to that. Like, we just don't have that. That's just not a thing here. Everybody kind of works and then they jam out and they go on an adventure, and they sort of stick to themselves. You'll cross and you'll have some acquaintances, but you're not going to, it's just not that. It's not that kind of place. Everybody's really, really independent here. So there's not a lot of social life. So if that's the thing that's really important to you, you might want to think twice about it. For some people, it's great. Like, love doing my own thing and rolling along. So I enjoy it immensely. I think it's a great thing about Wyoming. I enjoy the independent spirit that everybody sort of has here, but it's not for everybody. Know that coming in. All right, and the bonus. So I promised you guys a bonus. Here's the bonus. So some people are gonna be like, oh, this is lame, but whatever. I actually thought it was pretty cool. So each license plate has a number on the front, and then if you have a truck, it's like a T, and then there's another number. So the number is your number. But that first number, each county has its own number assigned to it. And don't think that people won't judge your driving based on the number on that license plate. I'm looking at you, Niners, number 9 county. I got my eye on you. I believe it's Bighorn County, so you guys are dangerous. I'm gonna take flack for that one. I don't care, I think it's funny. But also on each license plate, there's a horse logo on the license plate. And it's not just some arbitrary horse. So that horse is Steamboat. So Steamboat was this legendary bucking horse back in 1896. They called it unrideable. Just famous across the board. I don't know if anybody ever rode it, but they literally named him the greatest and said he was unrideable. So they named him Steamboat. I guess he got in an accident and messed up his nose. So when he would breathe, it sounded like a steamboat whistle. So can you imagine this thing just bucking out of the chute with a steamboat whistle going on? I bet it was pretty awesome. I wish they had video back then, or YouTube. But yeah, so that horse on each license plate is named Steamboat after that horse. So I thought that was a pretty cool fact. Wanted to share that with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I tried to make it short and sweet, you know, not doom and gloom, but some real facts. I like to give you guys true information so that you can make decisions when thinking about coming to live here. And I absolutely think you should come to live here. There's a lot of amazing people. There's a lot of amazing opportunities. You know, it's near constant adventure as soon as you get out into the backcountry or out into wherever. I definitely encourage it. I definitely think you guys should try it. And if you're remotely thinking about it, don't wait. Do it now. Do it while you're younger. Don't wait until you're older. But get moving. Come out here. Place is awesome. There are some limitations. It's like anywhere else. There's pluses and minuses. Hopefully this showed you guys some of the pluses with all of the adventuring and the opportunity to do there. But you understand that there's some cost to some of that, and there's some trade-offs across the board. And you're going to see that wherever you are. But on the whole, like I love Wyoming, and this is it, home for me for the rest of my life. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one.